Hello, and welcome back to Dr. Frida's Power Sessions, where we stop performing growth and start living it. I'm Dr. Frida, and this is a space for real conversations about self trust, emotional intelligence, and what it actually takes to lead yourself through life and love. Here, we don't rush healing, we don't sugarcoat truth and we don't confuse awareness with transformation. Power isn't about having it all together, it's about being honest enough to show up differently with yourself first. Every session is an invitation to pause, reflect, and choose alignment over autopilot. Now, let's get into today's power session. In this episode, we dive deep into the unseen emotional wounds that quietly shape our relationships, self worth, and love choices. Today, guest is Riana Milne. She is a globally recognized trauma and relationship expert with over 26 years as a licensed mental health counselor and decades of experience helping adults heal childhood and relationship trauma. She has been featured in Forbes and named one of the 100 most successful women around the world. Now, Rihanna brings wisdom that is both clinical and compassionate with zero fluff. So, without further ado, please welcome my guest, Miss Rihanna Milne. How are you, Rihanna?
Hey, Dr. Frida. Hello, everyone. I love that it's a no fluff show. That's perfect. That's right up my alley, girl. That's the only way people really heal, right? To really get down to it and understand what's going on and why, and let's be direct and get them the education they need to change and transform.
I agree. I think we use a lot of clinical words that goes over a lot of people's heads. And when I was reading about you and learning more about you, I just love that you come with your clinical background, but experience as well. Because sometimes people just want to hear conversation, and so many people can have that aha moment with just conversation or listening to conversation. So,
It's the
yes,
same with my books. People, when they read Live or Love Beyond Your Dreams, it's like, I love it. There's no psychobabble. It's as if you're just walking to me. It's easy. It's right to the point and easy everyday conversation. And I think that's how most people learn. Years ago, when I was learning to write from my book coach, they're like,
mm,
talk to it's like an everyday person, you know, ninth to
yes.
10th grade education, straightforward to the point, no highly technical words, and people then will get it. So I've also learned to coach in that way, just everyday language that relates to people.
Yes, yes. So with that said, before the coaching, before the writing, before you became a licensed mental health and relationship counselor or mental health counselor, tell us a little bit more about your work as a life and love relationship coach. How did you come into this industry?
Okay, so many years ago, when I was 16,
Uh-huh.
I had the sad situation where I lost one of my best childhood friends. He was killed by
Mm,
a drunk driver. His name was
mm.
Michael, and I asked my mom if I could please go to counseling to help handle that grief. And she said, none of my family will ever go to counseling because back then, and I'm a baby boomer for those who don't see me, counseling was considered shameful. So I
Yeah.
was not allowed to go, and I turned to books. So I started reading Wayne Dyer and Tony Robbins and Marianne Williamson and The Course of Miracles, anything I could find about mindset and healing and personal growth and change and comfort, right? How to heal when you've gone through a sudden trauma like the loss of my best friend.
Mm,
It's my first experience with it. And I always knew I wanted to be a therapist after that point.
mm,
Took me in other directions. I went to Penn State for broadcast communications and
mm,
got married to my sweetheart and had 2 young girls and found myself in a toxic relationship.
mm.
And, this is all before I knew my work. You know, why do you Sick partners, I had no idea it was chemistry. Isn't that how we're supposed to fall in love? Well, no, it's not. First experience with it, but I have my 2 wonderful daughters and 6 grandkids today, so it all worked out. But, then I went into the model and talent industry, and there I was teaching a lot of mindset work. I was located in Erie, Pennsylvania, and these people were hopeful models, singers, actors, dancers. And
Mm,
I had modeled since the age of 12. So I thought, let me open a model and talent agency. I can, get my kids to school, pick them up, work in an office with my own hours, and do something I love, which is the talent industry.
mhm.
So much mindset work needed to be there to take them to the next level. And they
Yeah.
all, when I competed with them in New York and LA, they all got top level agencies
Hmm.
invitations to join them. So it was a combination of mindset and the education to know exactly what to do and what to expect. And they did incredible. Even my own daughter sings on 2 multi-platinum CDs, and she went
Wow.
through that type of coaching program in the model and talent agency. So I was coaching without knowing I was coaching, and I was
Mm,
doing mental health work without the license at that point, because when girls came to me, "I wanna be a model," and they were, having eating disorders, they were starving
mhm.
themselves to be thin. I said, "That's the worst thing you wanna do, because you
Yeah.
won't look healthy." So here I'm doing, sideline counseling and coaching to get them to where they wanted to be in a healthy and way. So that's how it all began. And I knew I wanted to go back for my master's in psychology after I could raise my daughters, uh,
Mm,
and get them launched. Then I went back for my master's and opened my first practice in year 2000. So it's been 26 years now as a licensed mental health counselor, and then 2009 and 10, I went for certification as a life coach for both singles for a year and
mm,
for a year. So, and I love the coaching model because it's very educational. And
mhm.
client and I work as a team. So, what are their goals and dreams? And let's make that happen. And together we do. So it's a more energized, motivational, inspirational, and educational approach to change. And that's why I love coaching.
I love that. I love that the key word you were saying about educating, because
Hmm.
sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And
Exactly.
it's like what you were saying with your first relationship or your marriage. You didn't know about attracting a toxic partner. You just know, well, we have chemistry. I feel the butterflies, and that's enough. You know?
That's what we were taught growing up. Think about the romance novels, the movies. Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
My
And then the
God.
real truth is, your hippocampus, your brain likes what it knows, but it doesn't decipher whether it's good or it's bad. So it takes you
Yes.
back to your original childhood traumas, which is where my expertise comes in studying that piece and, really taking you back to what the body and brain knows and is used to, even though it may not be good for you, until you understand your own childhood traumas. And my quote is, you can't change what you don't know or understand.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, I had a couple boyfriends like that in a row. I'm like, I don't get it. I'm really a nice lady. I'm spiritual. I'm a great mom. I'm successful in business. Why am I getting these types of partners?
Mm.
I went to 7 therapist friends of mine and, asked them, and they're like, well, we don't know why, this is happening. And this childhood trauma work wasn't even talked about when I went for my triple master's in psychology. We're talking 1997 through year 2000. I did not hear once childhood trauma.
Wow, so that's a relatively newer term, which is I'm glad you said that because well, what do you think most people misunderstand about love trauma in that same vein then?
Well, what they don't understand is, like me, I was at that place. Why do I keep attracting the same type of person over and over again? Same
Mhm.
person, different face. Well,
Mhm.
now there's a term for that. We call it
Mhm.
RRS, or
Mhm.
relationship repetition syndrome. Okay,
Mhm.
so you'll break up with a toxic person, and then you'll read 300 self-help books and say, "I got it now. I know what I'm doing. I'm going out. Gonna find someone totally different," and then you don't. And then
Mhm.
now, here we go again. RRS can show up when it's a constant break up, get back together cycle again.
Oof,
Break up after
the revolving door.
10 to 14 days, you get back thinking it will be better. You both make promises. and those promises are broken again, and you're back in a cycle. And the research shows that cycle happens about 7 times before the health care says, "That's it, I've had it."
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's a very frustrating place to be in. But after my second toxic relationship, I started doing the research when I couldn't get any answer from therapists. And it was fascinating. I found it all goes back to your childhood experiences, which I call childhood trauma. And when I started talking about this on podcasts, well, the first thing I did is I took all my years of experience at that point as a therapist. So
Mhm.
in Atlanta, which was a hospital system with kids aged 5 through 19 who were depressed, anxious, cutters, runaway,
Mhm.
suicidal
Oh.
kids, right? So they're
Mhm.
pretty emotionally upset. Then I worked in drug and alcohol rehab centers because I'm LCADC too, a drug and alcohol counselor. So I worked one with teens and one with women from the prison system.
Okay.
In schools, I'm a SAC, student assistance counselor, working with the emotionally upset kids grades kindergarten all the way through college. So I worked at every grade level. So all these different experiences plus my own practice, I put
Mm.
together what I call the childhood trauma checklist in 20.
Mm.
And these are 10 things, and anyone can get them for free off my website. So we'll let you know what
Okay.
that is at the end. But you go through the 10 traumas and you identify, oh, yeah, I had that. Oh, yes, I had that. Then we look at what's coming out in your adult love relationships, and then we put the puzzle pieces together. And people
Mm.
oh my god, and meeting with you with 2 hours and doing these 4 simple assessments, I
Mhm.
find out why I'm doing what I'm doing. So when you understand it, now we can change it. So that's
Mm.
my understand first.
And so when you work with your clients and you have someone coming to you, they've done the checklist, the 10-step checklist of childhood trauma. They've read the Wayne Dyer books. They did Tony Robbins self-help master classes. They even seen them in person.
And
They
if the
they've
things are
done
still
all
happening, that's when I
they
get
they they
this.
done all the gurus, they gone all the gurus, and they come to you and they say, "You know what, Rihanna? I've done the work. I've read the books, I've followed the coaches, I've did your checklist." How do you know when healing is actually still incomplete?
Okay, so all the people that do turn to me usually have 2 signs all the time, ongoing anxiety and
Mm,
bouts of depression. There's very often a lot of personal self-doubt. There's fears around dating if they're single or if their couples are in this toxic cycle of fighting and getting back together, fighting and getting back together. Deep down, they know it's not emotionally healthy.
mhm,
So, my programs are a combination of mental health counseling, because I am a mental health counselor, and
mhm,
trauma recovery tools that I've researched. So,
mhm,
since 2012, I was researching this, and putting the experience of my therapy work into
mhm,
that list, right? Well, all these people, and it doesn't matter their age, their background, their race, their culture, where they live in the world, these top 10 traumas kept coming up. So that's the
mm,
childhood trauma checklist. Then surprisingly, when the ACE test came out, I was
mhm,
shocked to see it. Okay, they had large numbers, 17,000 or whatever. But I'm like, where's bullying? Where's abandonment?
mhm,
There was obvious things missing. I worked with foster kids,
mm,
who were adopted or left behind, like my foster kids in Atlanta care. Like, where is the representation of my
yeah,
people over 10 years? So, found it was really off, and then I see they developed it later and added bullying and abandonment, but, and under addictions, they had drugs or alcohol. How about porn use or gambling and
mhm,
hoarding and spending and gaming and TV watching? Well,
yeah,
there's at least 12 addictions that if a child grows up with a parent involved with these addictions, they're going to feel slighted,
exactly.
empty. So there was so much I was educating myself with in the journals and
Mhm,
reading tons and tons of different types of books. And then
mm,
that's how I created my program. But usually it's this ongoing anxiety and these bouts of depression and, continuing to choose a person that doesn't serve you. I could say
mm,
toxic, that almost
mhm,
really makes you feel sick inside. or
Mm.
anxious all the time. And you want to be able to understand how to quit that pattern.
And it's funny you said that, like, the things that is internally or was not seen that you're going through, whether it's depression or stress or anxiety, it can show up physically. It can show up in a physical way. And I'm
Yeah.
just curious, how in your experience, how does the nervous system plays a role in toxic attraction? If you keep on attracting that same person in a different suit,
Yeah.
how is your internal nervous system playing a role in that?
Yeah, it does. It impacts the brain, the body, the limbic system, your nervous system, all
Mhm.
all areas of the body. And really, there's been a chart that comes out. There's 7 life areas that childhood trauma, if not healed,
Mm,
impacts. So the 7 areas there are physical health. So someone with irritable bowel syndrome, fibromyalgia, eating disorders, sleeping disorders, cardiovascular disease. This is all traced back to ongoing childhood trauma. The second section is emotions. So, if you have problems controlling your emotions or you're moody, you have difficulty coping when things come up, you have that victim mentality. Why me? Kind of
mhm,
thing. There's a lot of shame and guilt around things or excessive worry, hopelessness when you're going through things. So that's the second area. Third area that impacts is relationships, what we're talking about today. Low trust, attachment problems, difficulty forming relationships, that's even friendships too,
yeah.
or staying long term in a relationship and being able to work through issues. Okay, so
Mm,
there's many more there, intergenerational cycles of abuse, neglect. Okay. Under mental health, this is where the anxiety and depression show up, post traumatic stress disorder, negative self image and esteem. Then the next
mm,
section is behavioral patterns, poor self regulation, like a lot of risky behavior,
mhm,
young girls acting out sexually to get love, using sex
mhm,
for love, poor impulse control. So there's a lot there. And then two that we saw in children, one is brain development. So if you had a
mm,
very anxious, worried mom, very
mm,
often the baby has a smaller brain size and impaired stress response. So it'll startle easily or be very cranky baby if the mom
yeah.
is upset or in an upsetting, emotionally abusive relationship. And then under cognition, these are often the children misdiagnosed as ADHD.
Mhm,
Was a big thing that I brought to the school system because I sat on
mhm,
the study team and I'm there, let me work with your child before you go to medication. So
mhm,
in my office, Miss Rihanna's relaxation room, I had music therapy, and one of my favorite, CDs I would play was Luis Miguel. Now, I'm not
mm,
Spanish speaking, but the tones in the music relax the brain. When we can
yeah.
relax the brain, the body relaxes,
Mhm,
right? So, and then I would do positive, modification, reward system, and just talk with the kids and let them express themselves. Any bullying, we handled that in my office. So some of the time these kids, they can't concentrate. They're nervous because mom and dad are fighting all night and they
yeah.
didn't sleep. So there's so much more going on than, oh, he's ADHD and let's put him on meds. It's like, no,
Yep.
let's do
Yes.
these things first and really see if this is what it is. Right. So that was a lot of what I did within the school systems.
That is amazing. It's funny because my sister is, she works with children with IEPs in the Denver school system,
Yes,
and so
exactly.
she pulls them out of their classrooms and work with them, and she has the babies now. She used to be with the middle school, now she has the
Yeah, I had
babies,
every
the
level too.
yes, and she loves it, but she has the same thing that you're saying, that and then sometimes it's their own parents that wanna, like, keep them on medication or
Yes.
continue to get these checks or anything like that, and it's being a disservice to the child, and they don't realize that these children are gonna one day grow up and be adults and have these same issues because it hasn't been addressed as a child in their
They're going
childhood.
through childhood trauma. These kids are coming into
Yes.
school all nervous, and when cortisol is up, which is fight, or freeze your nervous system. It's triggered. You cannot learn. Memory and focus is down. So when I meditate with them, right, and get them all calm, then they go back and they're able to learn, and their grades were going up, and their social success with friends was going up, and they were happier kids. So it
Yes.
really was wonderful work. I really enjoyed doing that.
You are doing amazing work. And I also do a lot of music therapy just for my own self. I listen
Yeah.
to sound bowls. When I travel, I listen to either John Coltrane, which absolutely amazing. I love John
Yes.
Coltrane and Mozart. It helps me to get grounded
Yes.
and pull it out of the future, pull it out of the past, and get grounded into the
Just
present.
feel. Just relax.
Yes.
Feel. Yeah.
Yes. And
Nice.
so yeah, and that's what I mean, I do that, but like you said, but how many people even know that that's an option to do that? And
Yeah,
so
everything I do is holistic. Like, most people come
yeah.
to me because they do not wanna be on medication, and I say medication's a Band-Aid, because they still have the problems and the problematic behavior. They're just a little bit more feeling zoned out or tired or just empty. So let's do the natural holistic things that we can do, which is part of Mindset for Success, my system that I developed with my research. And let's get these tools in check and practicing them over time so you become more consciously aware of everything what you say, do, write, text. You think first, is this good for me and the other person,
Yes.
friend, boyfriend, whatever, and if it's not, we have a little saying, "If in doubt, go without." So I use rhymes and poems for people to remember, so we have these little sayings, and, that helps them to remember them. Yeah.
So when a person come to you, because I know you work with singles and couples, but when a couple come to you, excuse me, and they say this relationship is perfect. However, we have communication issues and we might fuss and fight 4 times out the week, which is not healthy in my opinion. Why
Yeah.
do you think things turn toxic from it just started out they argue once or twice a week to 4 times to 7 times to now every other conversation is a battle. Why do you think things turn toxic once that relationship turns serious?
So in the research, it showed the 90-day rule is almost everybody's perfect the first 90 days because everybody's really trying and they're consciously aware of what they're doing and saying. And then once they feel, okay, we got we're a relationship, after the 90 days, usually in that time period, you might start seeing some toxic behavior that concerns you, or what we call
Mm,
red flags. So the red flags start coming up when the relationship is formed as a couple. You move in together, you get engaged, you get married, or you have children. These are the trigger points when these things start coming up. One of the first lessons I have to give to my couples is a communication lesson. Now, again, at Penn State, my major was broadcast and speech communication.
mhm,
So a lot of people don't know these communication rules. There's like 20, 25 of them that I go over with them. So that
mhm,
whole class or session, I'm teaching. They don't really
mhm,
have much to say unless it's like, oh, yes, this is what happens to us all the time. And they're great. So
mm,
instead, we're going to try this. So they can recognize their patterns and then they know the new skills to start practicing.
yes.
And that's why, with my coaching, there's a 200-page notebook because they can go back and refer to it. It's like, oh, yes, we're supposed to do it this way. It's written down here. Let's try it
Mhm,
again. Right.
mhm,
So it's highly educational. And the communication patterns come from childhood. Like, what did you
mhm,
witness your mom and dad doing when they had an issue or a discussion or an argument?
mhm.
I always say you don't have to fight. You don't have to yell. You can discuss.
No,
Just tell your
exactly.
point of view in a kind, loving, and respectful and safe way. They get to share theirs, and if you don't agree, it's like, "It's okay, hon, we don't agree on this one."
Mhm.
Like, you want President A and I want President B? Well, that's why we vote in quiet and we want to, you know? And this is part of what I call, in my Love Beyond Your Dreams book, Actually, it's a 400-page book, and I got up to 400. It's like, "Oh my gosh, I have to stop writing." This is when I was doing research on what is an emotionally healthy, evolved, and conscious relationship, so I was, like, really banging out the book. I wrote it in 6 months, which is pretty quick for a 400.
Yes.
But this falls under, one of the 5 F's of the emotionally healthy relationship. For the first one is solid foundation. So that's the ability to trust yourself and the other, and the confidence in who you are as a person and who they are. And you share the same moral values. So you have your individual goals and you have your couple goals, and that's your foundation, and you know where you're going. The second one is flexibility. This is the open mindedness, caring, and that you are emotionally open and allowing these loving conversations. You're
Mhm.
willing to listen. That doesn't mean you always agree. Fidelity is honesty, loyalty, and then integrity, which is doing the right things when nobody's looking. Friendship is another F. They should be your best friend, your buddy, laughing a lot. You enjoy each other's company. No matter where you go, you're having fun or just a peaceful, loving time together, and it always feels safe. And then the last F is fun. You have common interests, hobbies, shared activities, but you also have your individual things, and you should
Mhm.
make time for your own friends as well. So those are the 5 F's, but then there's also intimacy, which
Mhm.
is a balance of love and deep friendship. Some people think intimacy equals sex. Well, sex is a part
Yeah.
of it,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
have everything else first
Exactly.
before the sex comes. So it's a daily affection and love, and then romance and kindness towards your partner and respect. And then compromise. This is where you learn to negotiate your differences. And if you do make a mistake, you apologize right away. That
Mhm.
shows strong character. Everybody's, people that are afraid to apologize. This is a
Ugh.
childhood trauma. Red.
Yes.
That means as a child, you were told you were wrong or your opinion doesn't matter, nobody's listening to
Yes.
you, or
Yes.
"Don't speak while I'm talking to you, go to your room," and you would
Mhm.
learn that, your opinion didn't matter. So or you have to be right as an adult to feel your ego. So to apologize is full character, right? It's really of being a character. And then forgiving also, once you forgive someone, you don't keep bringing up the past, and this is what
Yes.
a lot of toxic couples do.
You
It's not
hit
gonna
the
change
nail
anything.
you hit the nail on the head with that one.
So,
So many people do that. I'm like, I don't know how you're gonna move past this. I really don't.
you have to agree that, you're not looking to win these battles because 'cause you're gonna
That's what it
lose the
is.
war, you're gonna lose the relationship.
Yes. Yes.
So, okay, we're all human, we all are a work in process, we all can do and learn better. Your partner's not 100% perfect, and neither are you. So we're going to make those mistakes. So when you make one, apologize. And if they make one and they apologize, it's like, it's okay, babe. No big deal. I know you didn't really mean that. And they move forward. That's it. That's simple.
I have to tell people you're on the same team. You cannot be on the offense or the defense all the time, and you cannot win. And my question is, if you win an argument, what does that do for you? What do you gain?
Exactly.
What do you all gain as a couple? And when in your 5 steps, you said flexibility is number 2.
Yeah.
And I was just talking with someone else, and we actually was discussing people who are not flexible and they mask it with strength where I'm not gonna take this from a person, I'm not gonna take this from person. It's a cover up for avoidance.
Yes.
And that's what we found. Like you're avoiding the real issue, which we can all trace back from a childhood or something like that. But we sometimes mask strength with what I'm not going to deal with what you
Yeah.
actually should deal with.
Yeah.
So it just keeps coming up. It's just gonna continue to
Exactly.
come up. That's just how
So
life works.
once we identify what are the childhood traumas you grew up with, and again, 100% of us have some childhood traumas. There's
Yes.
10. Most people fall around 4 to 6. Some are more, some are less.
Mhm.
Some might have had a really nice and safe family, but had problems at school. They were bullied at school, a chubby child, and then teased for that, or,
Mhm.
and I've seen all the teasing and bullying that could happen in a school because I've been there personally. So I know kids go through hard times. So it's a combination of all childhood experiences, right? So the point is we learn these norms and then these behavioral patterns to protect us. And then in our child's mind. So here's an example. If mom and dad are fighting and screaming, and dad gets rough with mom, and you speak up to try to protect mom, and then dad throws you in your room, it's like you're grounded for 3 months. What did you learn? Well, I better not speak
Yeah.
up and voice my opinion. It's not
Yep.
safe. So that
Yes.
trauma is in the body.
Yeah.
So when this man or this young man goes to get married and his wife is upset, he shuts down. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm not talking, I'm gonna get punished. That's his child brain and his trauma saying, I'm not saying anything. Then he doesn't talk for an hour or days, whatever the pattern is. So we have to teach empowered communication to both people. Each person in the relationship has to understand what was partner A and partners B's trauma
Mhm.
and how to support each other and understand and not jump on each other when
Mhm.
they know that is a trigger from their past. And when they both understand this, they are really each other's best friends. The relationship becomes very safe, more loving, more peaceful. And because they don't take everything so personally. Like the wife will say,
Exactly.
"You always shuts down and won't talk to me. What, am I not good enough?" No, it's not about you. It's about and he can't handle the communication at that time because he's too afraid. Con
Yes.
Fear is too high, right? So that's the process, and I do work with gay and lesbian couples too, so it's always partner A or B and, what they might have gone through in their
Mhm.
childhood, and what are they bringing into this adult relationship.
I love that because it's so funny 'cause I'm a product of my parents divorced when I was 2, but I would
Mm,
see my dad every weekend throughout the week, and my mom like, most of the women in my family are very strong, very opinionated, like, they're very strong, and it's if you're not there if you don't fall in line, you're gonna get ran over. So, I address every relationship like that. First date, "Okay, this is what my expectations, what do you expect from me?" Like, I'm giving a checklist. My partner now, he grew up the opposite. So he came from, both his parents still together, but he grew up, he had a speech impediment growing up. So he was afraid to talk
yes,
and speak. And so, and now he's fine. So every time, and we have disagreements. And I always say we have healthy disagreements because we learn more about ourselves individually after we come from that. And I
yes.
always say I have like maybe a 50-minute reset. I can get upset and I'm like, okay, what we doing? Okay, where we going to eat now? And he has to stew a little bit longer. But I had to learn maybe in the second year of our relationship that he is avoiding conflict. Like and you cannot avoid conflict. It makes no sense to me because how I was taught, you address it firsthand, right? Like we're not gonna ignore it. But for him, it was disempowering him because he felt like he didn't trust his own voice so much.
Yes, I understand that. I've worked with people
Yes.
with speech impediments. I had this incredible African American model, actually, in my
Yes.
model and talent agency who could sing like Lionel Richie. But he had a speech impediment. I said, "It does not come out when you sing because you relax and you're breathing, you're in this zone. So we're gonna get you into a zone as a person." So now I'm doing this for Roy at age 26, 27. I'm not the therapist yet or the coach. I'm a modern talent agent, but I cared so much for him, and he had so much talent that I knew he could make it. Went to LA, won the singing, contest
Wow.
against 58 other singers, did end up meeting Lionel Richie, his mentor and hero. Got a record contract, so, yeah, I love to see the transformations people
Mhm.
can make, and, he was a young man who was in charge of 13 kids of his family because the father left. So, he had all this responsibility and nervousness
Yeah.
inside him, but
Yeah.
what I do for a lot of my talent back then was have them meditate before going out. And he knew he had to be able to speak well to these talent agents before he
Mhm.
went out to LA on competition. So we got that handled for him. But it's so amazing, like, when we can calm down the system, your boyfriends or fiancé or husbands, you know, um, He had so much trauma as a young child that if someone's upset, the first thing is he just and what needs to
It gets
calm himself down,
exactly, and I had to
use
realize
that space.
yes, and I had to provide that safe space for him to even want to share that with me and
Yeah.
come to me because he doesn't have it. He when he had a speech pathologist and everything. So, I had to and what you were saying earlier, just you have to offer that space for your partner and have that space for yourself too, but just have that grace where it's okay because no
Mhm.
one is perfect. And
Right.
I want to empower him, like use your voice. I am a very strong woman. You almost like you have to come with me at this point. I will steamroll over you.
Well, you
So
know what, though? When we grew up, we had to be strong as women.
yes.
And I raised 2 daughters, and I needed them to be strong and independent because if they ended up alone in this world or not marrying, they had to be able to get a great job, and they need
Mm,
to know money and finance and, communication skills to interview well, and they both are very successful young ladies with families now. But we had to raise our kids strong, and we became strong in the '70s because we were supposed to be superwoman, go to college, work, raise the kids, do the grocery shopping, do all the cleaning. I'm like, "What is this? Wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this for this role."
I don't want to do this anymore. You made mention about your mindset for success system. Can you help people with your system? How do you help people without divulging too much? How do you help people break lifelong relationship patterns?
Okay, so mindset is used for everything to improve your life, your business, and your love relationships, right? It's used everywhere. It's used in how you feel about yourself and your confidence. You go through a hard time. So it's a thought pattern, it's a thought process, right? And most of
Mhm.
us, research shows 8 out of 10 people have 8 out of 10 fear based negative thoughts about themselves, their partner, their life situation, money, you name it, it's usually negative. So what I'm doing is changing mindset over 4 to 6 months
Mm,
by asking them to be more conscious, and then when a dark thought comes up, they have to cap and correct it
mhm,
from one which I call living in the light or you're living in the
mhm.
dark side. So I use a little symbol, yin yang, and here's a picture of it for our vision,
Yes.
right? Buddhists and the yin yang. So, how this works for my clients is on the dark side, there is a white dot, but that's where fear and anxiety and depression, murder, rape, drug addiction, anything that's dark and makes you feel bad is on the dark side. The little white dot reminds you at any time you can go through that tunnel and come up to the light side. So, what's on the light side? Love, passion, friendship, joy, working in the zone, having purpose, deep friends, family love, anything that makes you feel good and happy is living in the light. So, for our listeners, if you have paper and pen, put a T on your paper. And I'm going to describe what is the difference between a dark mindset and a light mindset. So, on the dark side, this is reactive. You're reacting. "Oh, darn, why me?" That's a reaction when
Mm,
something happens to you. On the light side, we're proactive. "Wow, that's interesting. What can I do about that?" We take action.
mm,
We're not angry about it. It's a situation that happened. Okay, what can we do about it? It's the first thing we ask. On the dark side, they unconsciously act out. They act out on impulse. They don't think if it's going to hurt themselves or others. They're not really thinking consciously at all. In the light side, we have conscious choices made all the time. If I send this text, is it nice? If I write this email, am I saying exactly what I want to say or should I look at it
mhm,
again tomorrow? We're always thinking, is this the right choice? In the dark side, they're not educated on mindset. Unless you study it, you don't know it. Okay,
mhm,
so we are educated in mindset on the light side. In the dark side, they have that fear-based negative thoughts, putting themselves down or others. In the light, we have these positive love-based thoughts for everyone. It's a spiritual way of being. In the dark side, it's like, I can't do it mentality. So let's say someone wants to go with coaching. Well, it worked for thousands of others, but it won't work for me. I can't do it. I can't do this. I can't do that. Okay, that's the dark side. We ask, what can we do? And we seek the answers to be able to do it, right?
mhm.
I mean, I'm not very technologically oriented, but when chatbots came out, I'm like, I'm going to do this. I don't know how, but I'm going to figure it out. A really cool interactive chatbot on my website like 2 years ago, right when it was just coming out. In the light, we have hope, spiritual faith, and trust that I always say God's got my back, that He's looking for me. So it is a spiritual philosophy. And on the dark side, that's where anxiety or depression lie. You know, you don't feel that hope. We say yes to ourselves and to many opportunities that present. We figure that's a gift coming. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I'll do that. And the others on the dark side, they feel stuck. They're not growing. They're saying no to opportunities. And I love Tony Robbins' quote when he says, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I always envision
Mhm.
plants. It's
Yeah.
growing, it's getting pretty flowers, and all of a sudden it doesn't get water. Nobody's paying attention to it. It shrivels and dies. So I want to keep growing in life. And then we are constantly moving forward into our future. We know what we design today will create our future. In the past, the door is locked. We
Mhm.
don't go back there. There's no reason to go. But those in the dark side, they ruminate about the past. There's a breakup. What did I do? What could I do better? Why did he do this? Does he not love me? Why did he do this on Facebook? It's like ruminating about past, 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 and you just stay stuck there. So this is just the beginning core of mindset work that I teach and reinforce every time I'm seeing my people. And then they totally change. I describe it like a rainbow
Mm.
with you don't know what you don't know, like we mentioned before. And
Mhm.
as you're studying and learning, there's this big learning curve as you're going up the rainbow. But then
Mm.
you're getting it, you're on the top of the rainbow, you're practicing it, you feel great, you're doing all the holistic stuff to make your body, your brain feel good. And then when you get it, you're doing it day in, day out, you're at the end of the rainbow is the pot of gold. And everyone, all my
Mm.
clients say, I can't believe I was that person before there, you know. And they love who they are today. And then they go on to have wonderful relationships. They know exactly who to choose and why. They know what the red flags are. So, in the first 2 to 3 dates, you know whether to move forward or not, and you know why.
Mhm.
So, yeah, there's a lot to learn, really, and then once you've got all the lessons and you've been practicing 4 to 6 months, you've got it.
One thing I do appreciate with your coaching, and it's similar to mine, you hold your clients accountable. A lot of times we like to coddle certain behaviors and coddle certain patterns, but you hold people accountable where, okay, this is your past, but you don't have to be defined by your past. Or
Right.
you can take actionary steps, between so many dualities that you do offer to help you move you to the life that you really want and not just
Right.
stay stuck there because
A lot of people stay stuck 'cause of the guilt and the shame,
yes.
I don't wanna acknowledge it, I don't wanna see it, because if I do, it'll be too painful, so they just stay there. But with my system, once they understand childhood trauma caused that pain,
Yes.
as no fault of their own, it's the dynamics as a young child they grew up with. Now it's like, okay, so I don't have to keep being a yelling, nasty guy just because I grew up in that household. If I become
Exactly.
loving and kind, that heals me. Start loving who you are because you've dropped all those toxic behavior patterns that you don't even like about yourself.
Exactly. You keep choosing things that you don't want, but I always say you have muscle memory, you have emotional
Mhm.
memory. And so what do you default to? Because it's comfortable to you. It's just very comfortable.
Well, the hippocampus, the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin is what chemistry is. It takes
Mhm.
you to the past. If that feels good, your brain's going, yeah, I want more of this, even though there's no other person on the other side. But wait, that's not good for you. Yeah, remember that. S- yeah. So that's where this repetition comes from. So when you're more
Mhm.
consciously aware and you know the rules and you know the rules based on research, and it's like, no, I'm seeing this and this. He's a lovely person. He's very attractive, but I'm going to respect myself and love myself more and
Mm.
move forward because I know this is not the one for me,
So,
right?
what is one piece of advice that you would give a single person who is preparing or wanting to date
Mhm.
and they just, for whatever reason, haven't found that? I always say every pot has a lid. They haven't found that lid that fits them. What
Yeah.
is that one thing a single person today can start doing within themselves to prepare them for their
Yeah.
person?
Well, my book, Love Beyond Your Dreams, Break Free of
Mm.
Toxic Relationships to Have the Love You Deserve, would start there. It's a fast, easy to read. People have loved it. It's 5 stars and was the #1 bestseller on Amazon. And the first part tells you the toxic personality types that'll break your heart. Most
Mm.
people don't know what those are. And now I know exactly what to look for. Then the
Mm.
second part is, are you codependent? Are you love addicted? This could be why. If this happened in your childhood and you're holding on to someone you consciously know is toxic, but keep going back, you have
Mm.
to stop and start giving yourself more self love and get
Mm.
educated on what is healthy and what is not. Part three is getting back out there to date and what to look for, what's healthy and what's not. And part four is what is the emotionally healthy, evolved, and conscious relationship, which is that
Mm.
one page I shared with you, the 5 F's.
Mhm.
So there's like wisdom on every page and very easy to understand. So I would start there. I do have a
Mm.
podcast called Lessons in
Mm.
Life and Love. I have 126 shows and 350 videos on YouTube,
Wow.
audios and videos. Plenty of free education, guys. The 4 free love tests on my website, riannamilne.com. One is a childhood trauma checklist. Another one is ACOA, adult child of childhood
Mm.
trauma.
Mhm.
And, one is there red flags in the relationship? And the
Mm.
other 3 tests is, are you really ready to date? And there's a
Mm.
10 checklist that says if these things aren't in line, do those first. Like, are you
Mhm.
financially sound or is there a lot of debt? Well, instead of
Mm.
date, take on another job, get out of debt. So now you're coming to somebody whole, confident, and knowing you are the best package. Because
Mhm.
that's what you wanna date, because you will easily see someone who is a good partner for you or who is not.
Yes.
For women, we want our level or one step higher. It's just
Yes.
tradition. I know it's stereotypical, but it's important for the male ego to feel like he is the man of the relationship. And yet, you want to be good, strong partners. So you want to come whole the best that you can. And that checklist will say, am I really ready to date? Or what do I need to work on? So we look at those 10 areas and we work on those. And part A of coaching, then part B for my singles, then we get them out to date. We start processing the date, and I do write their profiles, by the way. There's an art and science to a very successful profile. That's what my fiance too.
Wow.
'Cause I'm a busy person working. It's funny, I remember the date, it was August 1st, I said one of my best guy friends, James, I said, "It's time for me to find my partner, I'm gonna be 66 years old," and he goes, "Just like that, Rihanna?" I'm like, "Yeah, it won't take me long, I know exactly what to do." Just had to carve time out of my schedule and be psychologically mindset ready, and it's like, "No, I'm ready, I'm gonna be 66." By the
Yeah.
7th, I met Chris online. And, by the 17th, that was our first date, and we've been together it's our 3rd year now and have a beautiful new home that we go
Wow.
there and yeah, so it's easy when you know what to do.
Exactly. That is
That's
but yeah, and it takes some surrendering too, because you can't want it and then your mouth saying something, but your energy and frequency is saying something completely different. Like you
right.
said, you knew exactly what you wanted, you knew how to do it, you did the work, and you attracted what you wanted.
Yeah,
That's is really as simple as, I mean, I shouldn't say it as simple as that, but the hardest thing is going through the past wounds and the past trauma. That's the hardest thing, but the most rewarding thing that you can do for yourself.
that's true. When you feel great about who you are individually in your work, in your family, in your friendships, your whole life is together, even financially, everything your life wheel is together. Then it's time to date, then you find that person also, and then
Yes.
together you make a fabulous team, and you wouldn't settle for anything less because 'cause you've already done the work on yourself, so why would you settle
Yes.
for someone that isn't where you are? For example,
Exactly.
homeowner, I'm not gonna date someone that doesn't own a home. Why would I?
It's so funny because I used to be like, because I don't have kids. I never had the desire to want kids or
Okay,
anything like that. And so I was talking to my best friend, so maybe I should date people who don't have kids because I don't when I'm ready to hop a flight, I can do that because I don't have any,
that's right.
responsibilities. And they was like, "Well, at our age, who are you gonna really meet someone without kids?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And that's exactly who I did. My partner
Mindset. Yes,
doesn't
I will.
have
Thank you.
kids. And what do we do? We was in Vegas for 2 weeks. It was like, "How do you get be in Vegas for 2 weeks?" Well, because
Yeah,
we can do
nice.
that,
There
you
you go.
know? But I love that you share your experience, your expertise, just your passion. Renee, how can tell our listeners, and I'm gonna have it in the show notes too, but how can someone work with you? Do you do coaching in person? Do you do it on Zoom? Do you do group, individual? How can we work with you?
Okay, well, this is a very interesting question because I'm just coming out with a live Rihanna chatbot. So it looks just like me. It's all my information fed into the knowledge base, and they can go online. That will be ready, I think, this Friday. So that's one way.
Okay. All
That's
right.
from Brianna and Milne AI or Love Coach Online. That's
Okay.
the new website. My current website is riannamilne.com. And that's the best place to start because I would really like you to do the 4 love tests, especially the
Okay.
childhood trauma checklist. And then if you want to reach out to me, there's a discovery session where I work with you for 2 hours. It's on super
Oh.
special promotion right now. And we get to the bottom of what was your childhood experiences and how are they impacting you today? And what are your goals and dreams? Then we
Mm,
create the blueprint to make that happen.
mm,
So some people need a little bit of time with me. Some people need much longer. Some people want business guidance because I mentor them in how to write a bestseller, how to do a podcast, how to do an app or a chat bot. It's like, so whatever they are wanting, it's pretty individualized. These are
great.
the VIP clients that I work with. I used to do groups. Will I do one this year? I don't know. I'm really enjoying
Okay.
my relationship, to be honest with you, and I have to carve out time to do that. If you wanna work with me, you pay the VIP price, and now, there's a chat bot that you can work with. Either type it in, and you can use it 24/7 to get my answers, and that's gonna be a really incredible deal when that comes out, the new launch special, so keep an eye out for that.
Nice.
And then my books and my podcast. I'm international, but I'm very small town. Somebody wants to work with me, the VIP diamond level, they can text me, they can email me because I don't work hundreds at a time. I work with a few at a time, and that therefore they get my individualized attention. And that's why I've got incredible testimonials for years and years and years because I didn't wanna be a big mega coach with tons and tons of people, 300 in a group. I'm like, in my AI class, that works, but
Yes.
when you're doing personal work and trauma work, you really need, I think, individual attention.
Agree. Well, thank you so much, Rihanna. It was such a
Welcome.
pleasure speaking with you.
It's
Great
great to be here.
conversation. Yes, great conversation. And, this conversation, whoever's listening, is for anyone who is just tired of attracting that same pain in different bodies and just ready to create love from wholeness instead of survival. And you have Rihanna's information where you can work with her exclusively. I appreciate you for just sharing your wisdom and thank you again. I know this is not going to be our last time and have fun with your relationship. That is so
I
amazing. I'm
always do,
so
Dr. Frieda. Like, we're
I'm so
traveling. We got the disco cruise coming up.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is a blast. 5 days of solid dancing, and you meet my favorite Motown dance bands from the past, like, I met the Tramps and War and Earth, Wind& and Fire, and
I seen Earth, Wind, and
it's
Fire.
all the original bands. It's, like, phenomenal. So, that's what we have. Still
My
a disco dancer
gosh.
girl from the past.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have fun. You shake a tail feather for me. And with and everyone, I will see you all next week. And thank you again for tuning in to Dr. Frida Power Sessions. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.